And really, I think Columbus and downtown in particular is kind of catching up to other mid-tier cities around the country.
Hi, welcome to See You Live. My name is Walker Evans. I'm the co-founder of ColumbusUnderground.com, and joining me today is Marc Conte. He is the Deputy Director at the Capitol Crossroads Special Improvement District. Marc, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So the Capitol Crossroads Special Improvement District just released its State of Downtown annual report. A big chunk of that is about development, downtown development, what's going on. Just to rattle off a couple of the big numbers real quick. You guys found that there is $1.7 billion in development currently proposed across 40 projects. So that's stuff that's not even started yet. Another $1 billion under construction, and $193 million that was completed in 2019. This is a pretty big year overall.
Oh yeah, definitely. Just since the Great Recession, every year we've just seen more and more activity. And really, I think Columbus and downtown in particular is kind of catching up to other mid-tier cities around the country. And this is really just based on my own observations, but the pace of development we're seeing in downtown, I was seeing just before the Great Recession in some other mid-tier cities like us.
Nice. Yeah, we cover a lot of this stuff on Columbus Underground day in and day out, and what seems to always get the most attention is either the big stuff like the Columbus Crew, new stadium, that always, gets a lot of buzz, but also apartments, so when people hear, there's $1.7 billion in development proposed, they probably think that's a whole lot of apartments, but this also includes some things like highway construction and office buildings, correct?
Correct, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of money being put into the 70-71 reconstruction, which, we'll probably be dealing with over, the next 10 years.
Yeah, and we have been dealing with for
at least 10,
15 at this
15,
point.
yeah.
Yeah, and so, but that's important because, that's not just the highway being reconstructed. There's a lot of city level roads and bridges reconnecting neighborhoods as
Right,
well.
yeah, it should make for a much more pleasant pedestrian experience, even though the heart of the project is really a highway reconstruction. And then part of what else you see in these numbers are reinvestments in buildings. So a lot of the office buildings around Capitol Square just in the last 2 years did major reinvestments into their buildings in an attempt to, again, stay competitive and attract new tenants. And a building like the Huntington Center, which completed its improvements last year with a new rooftop deck amenity for its tenants and probably the largest green wall, at least I've ever seen in their lobby. It's really made a difference in a building that was built in 1984.
Yeah, I think that's probably the tallest rooftop or highest rooftop patio in the city at this point.
Oh yeah,
40 floors up or so. Pretty impressive. Yeah, you've talked a little bit before about how large downtown is. When people think about downtown, a lot of times they just think about High Street or they think about Columbus Commons. They have kind of their 0 point in the center. But our downtown is actually really large and has a lot of different, kind of sub areas. Places like the Arena District, really got started about 20 years ago and has really come online. With the development going on right now, do you see that sort of heat map shifting to other areas, maybe away from High Street into different zones?
Yeah, our as you said, our downtown's very large by definition. It's a 1,500 acres. And really your typical like 5-minute walkable neighborhood, it tends to be about 160 acres. So we really should have anywhere from 8 to 10 kind of distinct neighborhoods within our downtown. We're seeing that already now with River South. It's getting close to being built out. So as those surface lots have disappeared and we've seen High Point, 250 High 80 on the Commons, and then all the buildings from lifestyle communities, I think that area as it matures will start to gain its own identity.
Yeah, I think there's around 1,000 residents just at that intersection of Rich and High now at this point between the 4 or 5 buildings that have gone up in recent years.
Yeah, and so I'll be curious. I need to get down there more in the evening and see, are we still rolling up the sidewalks at 5 o'clock or has that changed there?
I will say going by there, Condado is busy, on a Tuesday night in the summer, the patio is lively, there's things happening. So it's changed a lot in the past 10 years. You mentioned things like the Huntington Center, their rooftop patio. It seems like a much smaller project compared to something like the Crew Stadium, building out an entire neighborhood around it. There's some other smaller projects in the list that you guys put together, including things like Rise Brands, They took an old building right next to Penn's. It had sat empty for quite some time, at least a few decades,
Yeah.
as far as I'm aware, and renovated it into their new offices. And so that on the list said it was a $2 million project, which is small potatoes compared to the 1.7 billion in the pipeline. Do you think we'll see more of those kind of small scale, fill in the gap kinds of things around downtown?
Yeah, and Dan Schmidt has two proposed for the very eastern edge of downtown over in the Discovery District, two smaller scale apartment buildings on vacant lots. One of the problems that we have with downtown Columbus is that we lost so much of our building stock to demolition until the Downtown Commission came to fruition in the late 90s. And you compare that with a place like downtown Cleveland. Part of why downtown Cleveland has so many more downtown residents than we do right now is that they had a lot of existing building stock that they were able to renovate relatively quickly compared to us taking away parking and then having to build new buildings.
Right. We're starting from scratch almost.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for sharing some insights on all of this, and we'll have a link to where you can check out the full report for more information.